你觉得川普对台湾的立场，今年跟4年前是不是有改变？尤其他最近有很多对台湾的言论，说第一个台湾人很有钱啊，然后抢走我们的生意啊，其实听起来是不友善的。好，尤其在晶片制造领域，那川普在最近辩论的时候也重申了这些看法。那我问他说，到底川普还支持台湾吗？跟4年前相比，有什么转变？
Of course, when he came into office back in 2017, he had a call with the Taiwanese government. His administration sent senior officials to Taiwan. At the time, this was, as you know better than I do, it was received very warmly. The idea that he was paying this kind of attention to Taiwan felt very encouraging. On the other hand, that was a period of time that was a long time ago. And one thing we've learned about Trump is that he tends to do things that are designed to try to produce a result. His goal in that period was to send a message to Beijing. His message to Beijing was, I can be a friend or I can be a foe. And what he decided at a certain point was, okay, I've sent the message to Beijing. They're paying attention to me. They know that I'm unpredictable. And at that point, he changed his position, and he became, in a sense, much more personally, he became much more interested in trying to strike up a strong relationship with Beijing. And that was moving along. You remember he had Xi Jinping come to Mar-a-Lago. That changed with COVID. COVID was made it harder for him to pursue the kind of personal relationship with Xi Jinping that he wanted. But at that point, you have to see it for what it is, which is that it was a chaotic policy-making process when it came to China, when it came to issues involving Taiwan. It was not a coherent philosophy. And what you've heard recently should be taken very seriously. Donald Trump deeply believes that other countries should be paying the United States somehow for our security guarantees, should be paying the United States for having been an economically successful counterparty in trade over the years, even though, of course, Taiwan has risen on its own strength and ingenuity. So it would be a mistake to ignore the things that Trump is saying about the future, because, as we know, he tends to say what he believes on these kinds of issues. And I'm afraid that he does not have Taiwan's best interest at heart.
而且，所以拜登多次表示，跟川普比起来，他会在台湾发生危机的时候让美军进行干预，而且讲了应该有4次到5次。那当然，欧议文讲到川普其实不是那么明确，甚至暗示过说台湾太遥远，美国没有办法施以援手。那真的台湾这么远，是有可能让川普不想救台湾吗？
Over the last few years, we have seen that the Biden administration has become more and more emphatic in describing America's commitment to help Taiwan in the event of an attack. That's because they've decided that this policy of strategic ambiguity, which is still technically in place, needed to be advanced to some degree, that it was clear that they worried that Beijing was getting mixed messages from American politics. Because after all, Donald Trump was saying things like what you just mentioned, which is that perhaps China has a natural ability to overwhelm Taiwan, the implication being that a Trump administration might have no particular interest or capacity to go in and help. I think that the reality is today, the good news is Taiwan in the United States today is a much bigger topic of conversation than it was 4 years ago or 8 years ago. People in the business community, in the national security community are talking about Taiwan as an essential piece, not only of America's understanding of the global economic scene, but also as an important bulwark of democracy against the possibility of growth in authoritarianism. I see this in my own life, my own writings, my own dealings. I've been working on issues related to China and Asia for 25 years. I've never heard people in Washington talk about Taiwan as much as they do today. That's very good, but it's important also that Democrats are saying something that's very different than Republicans. Democrats are saying very clearly they would come to the defense of Taiwan if needed. Republicans under Donald Trump are not saying that. And you should be skeptical of people trying to reframe what Donald Trump says. If they're reframing it, that's because there's something in there that they know is either wrong or is not credible. And you should be concerned about what Donald Trump says.